Hello my friends, today we are going to discuss our first lesson, which is called the general provisions and concepts of the technical regulation. During this lesson we are going to discuss two main terms. The first one is the technical regulation and the second one is the standardization, and also the relationship between these two terms and the main key elements of the technical regulation and standardization system. This topic is very important to everyone, everyone in this entire world, because somehow, maybe directly or maybe indirectly, it connects, it relates to everyone, to the safety of the everyone. But the problem is that there are no simple explanation of this term. If you try to find any information, any explanation regarding this term, the technical regulation, or maybe some other terms such as standardization or conformity assessment, you'll fail actually. So if you open any books regarding this theme, regarding this topic, you will find very hard to understand explanations. For example, in this slide you can see the determination of the technical regulation in the United States law. So it says that technical regulation is a legal regulation of relations in the sphere of establishment, application, and meeting of the obligatory requirements for products or for processes of design, including survey works, production, construction, installation, adjustment, operation, storage, transportation, sale, and reclamation connected with them, and also in the sphere of establishment and application on a voluntary basis of the requirements for products, processes of design, and so on and so on and so on. So as you see, this is really hard to understand the meaning of this determination. For today, I have the 10-year experience in the field of technical regulation, standardization, and conformity assessment, and even to me, it is really difficult to understand the meaning of all these words. And what about the other people who didn't study it, who don't work, or whose work do not relate it or intercepts with the technical regulation and standardization? How could they understand what does it mean? What actually the technical regulation is? This term, the technical regulation, is really very important for everyone. For everyone who consumes the products, the services, or maybe takes part into some production or industrial processes, it is very important for them. And it is very important for everyone to know what actually the technical regulation is and what is it needed for. So let me present you my own interpretation of this term. So in a simple word, the technical regulation, the activities regulating the issues of the safety of products, processes, and services. And the key word here is the safety. Safety of the products, processes, and services, which are usually consumed by the people, by everyone. So that's why it is very important to know to everyone. It is very important to all the people to know what the technical regulation is and how it is actually works. So the technical regulation process is the process that is coordinates or conducts by the government. And on behalf of the government, usually it is any state body or governmental body which regulates the technical regulation issues. And for the government, it is very important that you, after the consumption of any product, of any service, that you stay alive and you're okay, that everything is okay with you. This is the main purpose of the government. The government by itself do not care about the quality of the products that you consume, that you use. It doesn't matter to the government. Is the food tasty or not? Is it good or bad? Or how do you feel yourself? I mean, your satisfaction scale when you eat that food. But what really matters for the government, that after you ate the food, nothing wrong happened to you. Everything is okay with your health. You did not poisoned, or you did not get any harm after eating the food, for example. So this is, in couple words, what actually the technical regulation is. So this is actually the main purpose, the main aim of the technical regulation and of the government. When we talk about the standardization, which is not less important than actually the technical regulation, standardization actually has the same problem with the determinations, with the explanations of this term. For example, in the US law, you can find the terms that is showed in this slide. So, the standardization is the activity for the establishment of rules and characteristics for the purposes of their voluntary and repeated utilization aimed to ensure orderliness, and so on and so on. And the standard is a document which establishes for the purposes of a voluntary and repeated utilization the characteristics of products, rules for the operation of an characteristics of processes or design, and so on, so on, so on. It is also really hard to understand what all these words actually mean. And here is the interpretation. The standardization could be called the activities aimed at developing standards, or at the development of the standards. So it is some activities which has the main purpose to develop the standards. And the standard is a document containing safety or quality requirements for products, processes, and services. So in comparison, the technical regulation with the standardization, we can find some equalities and differences. So the first thing is that both the standardization and the technical regulation, they actually coordinates or regulates the safety requirements, the safety issues of the products, processes, and services. But the difference is that the standardization also regulates the quality issues. So this is the main difference, the main point. And mostly standardization is needed not for safety but for the quality. In such huge science as economy, there are two key elements, two main elements that actually rules everything. And they are the demand and supply. And everything in economy spins around these two elements. And if the person knows exactly what the demand and supply are, and actually knows the differences and the relationship between these two elements, that person mostly knows everything about the economy. And in the field of technical regulation, we also have such key elements, which are the safety and the quality. And if you understand what actually the safety means, what actually the quality means, and what is the role of the technical regulation and standardization in these, regarding these two elements, regarding the safety and regarding the quality, so you actually understand the technical regulation system for maybe 90%, maybe more, but no less. The documents that usually contain the safety requirements are the technical regulation as a document or the mandatory standard. It depends on the actual working system in the country. So for example, in China, there are no technical regulations, but they have the mandatory standards that contain the safety requirements for the products, processes, and the services. And for example, in Europe or CIS region, there are kind of a technical regulations. In Europe, the technical regulations are called the directives and just a regulations, one word, regulations. European Union regulations and European Union directives. And all those documents, they contain the main safety requirements for the products, processes and services. The document that contains the quality requirements is a standard, a voluntary standard, or as we usually call them, just a standard. So, in a conclusion, first of all, the only thing that you should know about the technical regulation, that it regulates the safety requirements. The main thing, the safety of the products, processes and services. In our next lesson, we're going to discuss a little bit more detailed the issues of standardization, what actually the standardization is, what types of standards do we have, and why do we actually need to develop the standards. If this video was useful to you, don't forget to subscribe and to look after the new videos.